Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Jamie here. I want to say a very warm welcome to you. Thanks very much for joining me in today's presentation. I'm really stoked you guys could be here for this one. I'm going to go through some of the psychological reasons why people are buying and how you can start eliciting that in both your communication with people, both messenger and, of course, over the phone or over Zoom or whatever your chosen medium is. And yeah, going to go through a couple of the reasons why people end up buying stuff, and it just will hopefully open up your mind a little bit into I guess what elicits a buying decision from people and how you can start putting that into your content as well. So thanks very much for joining me, of course. And if you are tuning in via my Facebook group, thank you one and all for joining me on this amazing day. If you'd like to smash that heart button, drop a comment, let me know you're here, give me a hashtag live if you do happen to jump on the live, and of course a hashtag replay if you do happen to jump on the replay. And of course, if you are joining me via YouTube and this is the first time on the channel, welcome. My name is Jamie. I cover internet marketing, affiliate marketing, how to get started online, and a whole bunch of stuff online and digital stuff and all that blooming stuff that's good, right? So smash that like button, drop a comment, and feel free to subscribe if you're interested in that type of stuff. So thank you very much. I can't actually see who I've got with me today, but I appreciate you guys tuning in. Keep your comments coming. Any questions you'd like to ask, please feel free to drop them. I will address them at the end there. Miguel San Melvin San Miguel. How you doing, man? Good to see you. I appreciate you choosing. Hi, Ahmed. The $2,000 a day man. Anyway. Right, grab a pen. This is going to be fun. We're going to learn some stuff. And obviously, like I say, feel free to drop any comments, questions, or criticisms along the way. I'm a big boy. I can cope. All right, I'm going to share my screen. I've got a presentation sorted out for you guys, and I'll go through those. So bear with me one momentski while I get this thing up. All right, screen is shared. We're off to a good start. All right, I like this. Right. Let's present. Oh no, I'm at the bottom. Oh no. Oh, thank God. Oh, off to a disastrous start already. It's Friday night, that's why. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking with it. So here's the thing: why folks ain't buying your stuff and how to fix it. So like I say, we're going to go through the reasons why people are buying things and how you can start eliciting some of that stuff in both your content and obviously in your sales presentations, things like that as well. So before I get into it though, if you'd like some assistance with your affiliate marketing business, or you're interested in a free case study about how my business operates, go to jgcall.com. And of course, if there is any interest there, there's an option to book a call with myself. Happy to have a chat, see if you and I might be a good fit. Please feel free to book a time, and please feel free to rock up on time as well if you do happen to book one. It's tends to be a little pet hate of mine, people not rocking up on time. So anyway, let's jump into it. So this is you. You've started your internet marketing journey, and you're basking in all the glory. And the dream is of lazy days and unlimited cash is going to flow to you, and basking in endless amounts of glory. And of course, pina coladas in the paddock, although that's not a thing that I've ever heard of that anyone has ever been interested in. But I thought it had a nice ring to it, so why not, right? But then the truth is, what tends to happen for a lot of people is that's on the sales pages. They fall in love with the dream of the laptop lifestyle, the lying in the sun in the bloody meadows, looking up at the sun thing. But this is more of the reality. And the reality is often basically a very strange looking unicorn mask that scares the neighborhood cats and dogs, probably, for that matter, as well, and probably I guess people in general. So how do we go about fixing that? If you're in the latter and you're kind of doing this and you're pushing people away, this presentation is going to be for you guys. So let's jump into it. What makes people want to buy stuff? Now, I've got a little acronym here, and some of you probably already know where I'm heading with this thing, but it starts with the letter K. K as in no. People need to know you, okay? Next part of it is like. They need to like you. If they don't like you, they're probably not going to buy stuff from you. And last but not least, they need to trust you. And of course, if someone doesn't trust you, why on God's green earth would they give you any time of day, right? Like no one's going to buy something from you if they don't trust you. So I'm going to go through why these things are important and how you can build those up as part of your overall content strategy. Right. No. People want to feel like they know someone. It makes them feel more comfortable with their buying decisions, and it makes them feel very safe. Those things together is why that part of it works. Now, you want to ideally connect based on commonalities with that person. And so what you can do, a little exercise, just going on a little segue real quick here, you can actually go back in your life and look at all the big things that have happened. So look at the jobs you've had, the career paths, the things you've studied, any interests, anything like that, any places you've traveled. Just jot them down and have them, or at least have them as like a reference point, because what you'll find is that the older you get, the more experiences you've had, the more people that you've connected with over time, the more stuff you're going to be able to relate to other people with, the more things that you're going to be able to like gel together, right? So one thing you can also do is just very tactfully reveal a little bit about who you are. Now, you don't need to go into the depths of, like all the intimate details. Okay, you don't need to go down that path, but it helps to get to know people if you're a little bit open about things, right? The other thing you can do, of course, is be present. So someone feels like they know you if you're going live. They kind of feel like they know you based on the way that you communicate, the tonality of your voice, the inflection, the way you wave your hands around all crazy when you're doing these presentations, all that sort of stuff. It goes towards how people know you. Okay, right through to your lexicon and the words that you choose to say. It also carries through to your content, and also carries through to the consistency in your content as well. So if you're there a lot of the time and you're producing content, you're out there, blah, 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 what tends to happen, I've had it numerous times where people will be on a call with me and they'll say, oh, this feels really weird. I feel like I know you because, I'm here all the time. I'm here till Tuesday. Anyway, the next part of it is to like. You need to like something. If you don't like it, you're probably not going to buy it. So a really good resource for this is How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's by Dale Carnegie. I read this book when I was a little bit younger, and I discovered that a lot of the things in it, and I don't say this conceitedly by any means, but I realized that there was a lot of it that I kind of did organically anyway. I'm going to go through a couple of the core things that I picked out of it. And of course, like I say, I would highly recommend that you read it. It's a good book anyway. Take genuine interest in people. So listen to what they have to say, not just necessarily waiting for your turn to speak. Try and be an active listener. So if they've said something to you, don't just kind of like, okay. Anyway, so yeah, what I was saying is, and like wait for your turn, like actually respond to what they're saying. That's, that shows, I guess, that you are listening, that you do actually give a shit, even if you secretly don't. So some really strange little body language things you can do with this as well. And again, it's something that some people just inherently do naturally. But when you've got, I don't know if those of you that have had dogs and whatnot throughout their life, or maybe cats as well, you notice if they are confused and they're really like concentrating and trying to listen to what you have to say, you're like, listen, dog, I've got this little red thing here, and it's like a little secret snack, and it's going to be amazing. And I'm only going to give it to you if you like, you sit and you blah, blah, and they're sitting there going like this here. So that whole thing there, that's them listening, right? And so humans do the same thing. When we're genuinely listening to someone, we have same sort of mannerisms. And so what we tend to do is we will like usually squint our eyes a little bit, and then we'll tilt our head. And it's a sign of concentrating deeply on what someone is saying. So that's something that you can elicit. Like I say, it happens organically for a lot of people. But if it's not something that you do organically, then that's something that you might want to consider. Because then the ironic thing is when you do try to do that, you end up listening because you're concentrating on that, which is kind of weird, right? Be consistent with who you are. Now, that's not to say that, we all have shitty days. We all get grumpy. Well, I'm assuming, I don't know anyone that doesn't so far in my life. And if you find them, then, I would be interested to meet that person. That would be quite incredible. But it's not that you don't have down days or up days and whatnot. It's not that like you can't have like low energy one day when you're doing a live, and then have super good energy the next day. It's just more about the overall message about what you're sending out there and how you're displaying and how you're being and all that sort of stuff. So if you can be consistent with that, it forms credibility in your character and credibility and likability as well. Be you, because I don't know if you guys know this, but everyone else is kind of taken, so you're stuck with you. I'm getting a lot of beeps coming through on my thing. Just make sure it's not someone saying, "Jamie, why are your screen's not showing?" Anyway, no, here we go. That's wrong. Right, so yeah, be you. Yeah, because everyone else is taken. So be authentic, be yourself, be unapologetic about yourself. Because if you're trying to be someone else, it is very hard to maintain, first and foremost. And a lot of the time, people just read through that. Like they know that there's a lack of credibility and authenticity behind the way that you're performing and doing things. They know that you're probably trying to emulate someone else to a certain degree, so they'll read it, and it becomes very unlikable. Also goes into the trust factor, which I'm going to cover in a moment as well. Also, don't be a judgmental piece of shit. Now, this is I'm going to put a couple of little asterisks beside this, because we all judge. We all have our own, like, as soon as we see someone, doesn't matter, you know, where we are in the world, there's going to be some element of judgment, and where that comes from is more about keeping ourselves safe, right? So if we see someone and it's like, he looks like a zombie, and he's got like teeth and like showing, and his blood coming out of his mouth, he's got a knife in his hand, then you're judging. Like, you're going to make some sort of judgment call, like, maybe he's just misunderstood. Maybe if I get to know him, he won't be so stabby. I don't know. So I hope that situation never arises. You know, maybe that zombie over there is just, you know, maybe he's just misunderstood. Maybe he's a nice guy after all. I don't know. But what I mean by that is, if you're overtly, outwardly judging people for, you know, haha, look at that guy. He's got a funny accent and a grey beard, and he talks weird. Like, if you like that, then, you know, that's you're not going to get many friends for doing that for very long. You might polarize your audience to a certain extent, and some people go, yeah, he is like that. He's a weird guy. And he talks really funny, and he does these weird lives and stuff. But yeah, that's not going to help in the long run. So of course, like I say, don't feel guilty about those types of judgments about the zombies, because you're gonna have that throughout your entire life. And you know, is this a safe thing for me to be heading down this dark alley where there's, like, you know, like bad looking things about to throw like zombie juice at me or whatever it is, right? Then, you know, of course, keep yourself safe, but you don't necessarily need to be super judgmental. You know, with things people say to you, things like that. And I know it's a little bit hard sometimes, because especially online, we get like bombardments of things that inherently piss us off, like spamming our links around, or, like, you know, getting static from people because they don't like the way you look or the way you sound, or, you know, anything of that nature. I get it, but, you know, that's on them. You let them do the judging. You don't have to be the judge, or the jury, or the executioner, for that matter. Right, trust. How do we build it? Don't be desperate. First and foremost, people will sniff that out from miles away, like a shark or a polar bear. Yeah, they will just, you know, sniff that out, and that's not good. Or a dog. Possums also have very good sense of smell as well. So that any of these animals, and probably some humans as well, probably will sense that. Because what happens is, when you're desperate for something, it comes across. People will read that, and they'll immediately go, I don't trust that. What's going on? Why do they want that? Why are they, like, so desperate for me to take that one action, that one thing? What is it about that? Like, there's something fishy, something's weird here. And you've probably experienced that in your own life as well. If someone's trying to push you into something and they're desperate about it, and you're like, oh, I don't know, I now don't want to do that thing based on how desperate that person was, right? And it's okay to walk away from the deal. This is going to build a massive amount of trust, because what that tells people, and what that message that you're consciously or subconsciously sending to people is, I'm not so desperate that I'm going to do anything to get the sale across, or get the thing, right? You're okay about walking away from the deal. Like, it's completely fine. And so there's a massive trust factor that gets built into that. And then when you genuinely actually believe that, you know, there is tons of other opportunities out there, and you don't need to worry about this any one particular lead and whatnot, then, you know, again, you're going to create a lot of trust. And if it's not an individual thing where that person one-on-one trusts you massively, that's fine. It might end up being that overall people know that you're not going to shaft them for the sake of a sale, if you know what I mean. So that's massive, right? Damaging admission. So I don't know, like Frank Kern talks about this a lot. He does it in his copy, and it's because he puts a big bold headline out there, and it's like, oh, you can make a gajillion dollars. No, he never says this, and don't ever put that in your don't make bold claims of that nature in your copy. But for example sake, he might say something like, "Oh, you're going to put a whole lot of money out there, and you're going to make a whole lot of money, blah blah." But then the damaging admission is, but I don't know your history. I've been doing this for 20 years, and not everyone's results are typical, all that sort of stuff, right? So that's one way of thinking of that. But another damaging admission is, look, I honestly don't know if this is actually going to work for you. So, let's just, maybe it won't. Let's just go through some more information, see what we can come up with and whether it does, right? That's a damaging admission. Transparency. So if you're transparent about what you're after, I think you'd be a great fit for this. I'd love for you to join us in this program. That's transparent. Like if you're like, oh, well, I think that a lot of people are going to get some good results. And I get it. Sometimes that part is actually really hard, especially in the initial stages of like a sales process, because you kind of you don't want to be too transparent that you're like, oh, look, honestly, the only reason I'm talking to you is I just want you to buy this thing. So, you don't be that transparent. And hopefully, going back to one of the things I mentioned earlier, you do have a genuine interest in humanity in general, because if you don't, then this whole thing's going to make it infinitely more harder. Anyway, whatever. Don't be manipulative. There's a situation that arose with someone with me, and I felt used. I felt very, very used, and it pissed me off. Still irks me to this day. I should have let it go a long time ago, but I still find myself getting really mad about it. And basically what there was is I was coerced into giving a testimonial for something I had zero interest in. And I won't even go into it at the moment, but I had my time wasted. I'd given free coaching, and I was coerced into this thing and pressured into it, and it really fucked me off, to be honest. So you don't need to be manipulative. Going back to transparency and which I think one of the next ones I've got in there, which is being authentic, but that will carry across, right? So you don't actually need to do any of that stuff. If people are relaxed and calm, it's going to build a lot of trust. Now, this is a really interesting one. So for me, if you guys notice the way that I communicate, it's very I'm sort of sometimes I'm like, oh, happy, and waving my hands around like a crazy person and whatnot. I by definition on camera, I probably wouldn't be someone that you would say is quite calm or relaxed. But if you meet me in real life, it's not that I'm the polar opposite. I'm still, a bit of a goofball and all that sort of stuff, but I'm relatively calm and relaxed, and which I know that sounds like such a dichotomy for you to kind of handle right now. But a lot of the time when I'm filming and stuff like that, I do things like this and joke and whatnot to engage the audience as well. So, but being calm and relaxed and kind of being assured of yourself and assured of where you're taking the prospect, it helps build massive amounts of trust. Next one, you don't need to appease or kiss ass because it just comes back as being desperate. So there's a lot of trust built with your audience in particular, not necessarily on a one-to-one basis, but on a one-to-many basis, where if you're like, oh, you guys are right, yeah, I shouldn't do that, okay, I'm sorry. But I don't mean be unapologetic. I if you fuck something up, then of course take ownership of it and address the situation, things like that. But what I do mean is you don't need to kind of just bend your sense of morality or sense of ethics for the sake of the masses. Like there's going to be people that are going to disagree with you anyway, even amongst those who think you're doing the right thing. So stay true to who you are and don't need to be like appeasing absolutely everyone all the time, right? So let's go into some buying decision factors. So the very first one is people like having a feeling of involvement or ownership. So if you're I don't know, a Jaguar owner, for example, you own a Jaguar car, then there's going to be a sense of involvement because you're part of that. But it can be anything. It doesn't, that was just a random thing off the top of my head, but it can be of anything. They like being involved. People in general, we like being involved. Honesty. So a buying factor is if they know, like, and trust you, then the likelihood is that's going to lower the defenses when it comes to making a buying decision. So if they don't feel that there's a sense of honesty coming from the landing page, from the the person that's doing the sales process, then that lacks integrity. They're going to sniff that out. Which is integrity. There you go. So that's the next one. So basically, have integrity. Because it's going to help you out with your sales process massively. And conversely, people will read through all these things pretty easily. You want to have a sense of credibility, and they want to have a sense of credibility. So as part of their buying decision, they might feel that there's going to elevate their sense of credibility by being part of something, if that makes sense. And the credibility of the organization, of the platform, of the training software, whatever it is that people are buying, the credibility of that. Value and proof of value. So value can be a dollar figure, saving money. Value can be how much benefit people are getting for their money. It can also be proof of value. Could be, you're going to get XYZ, blah 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 blah, and here's the results of our students that can attest to that as well. So that's proof of value. Justify the purchase. So that's an interesting. There's a whole. You probably could write a whole book about this one, really. But justification of the purchase could be anything. I deserve it. I'm deserving of this thing, that I'm buying now, that I'm spending all my hard-earned money on. I deserve it because like I'm awesome, and it's been a crazy year, and whatever other reason you want to throw out there. Well, sorry. And so they need to justify it themselves. And so if the sales process can somehow help that justification process, that's going to help massively. What else we got? Greed. Everyone loves greed. Gotta love it. Now that could be something like, for example, a little case study for you guys. How would you like to buy a cake? But tell you what, if you just pay a little bit extra, you can get 2 cakes. So then you can have your cake and eat it too. Brilliant. Greedy. You don't need to. No one needs 2 cakes in one go. That's ridiculous. Establishes authority. So someone who purchases, say, a thing that is awesome, somehow that can also establish a sense of authority. So it can be things like symbolic, or like a Mercedes-Benz, if you own one of those, or a classic car of any kind. It establishes some sense of authority. Also, if it's something that is well renowned, which something eludes me at the moment. I can't think of anything, but you kind of get the point. Like, it will help establish your own authority. So that might be come into the buying decision. How much authority do I get out of this? I'll have 5 authorities, thanks. Satisfaction, conviction. So what that means is how convinced someone is that the thing that they are buying is going to satisfy their needs and desires and wants and whatnot, right? So that in itself, that can be huge. That's probably one of the bigger ones in my opinion, because if you can't justify that, then like they're not going to be very convinced that it's the right pathway to take. The nature of the product. So you could say, look, this thing is going to make you feel amazing. You're going to just experience the most beautiful time in your life. And like you're just going to love everyone. It's an amazing thing. You're just going to feel way better. And you're thinking, oh, well, this sounds pretty cool. Oh, what is it? Class A drugs. Going to make you feel great. And you might think, whoa, I don't want the nature of the product. No, thanks. I'm not interested in that. And so that's just an example, right? Like, the nature of the product is going to determine, and that was a joke clearly, but in this particular product, so I'm not going to purchase it. There is something I don't feel good about that, because it's to do with the dark web, but something of that nature, right? Current fads. So things that are on trend that you see in the media, that celebrities seem to be touting about, that people of influence have some sort of involvement in. Those types of things do tend to get like a wave of hysteria behind them. Crowd mentality, crowd psychology is really fascinating. So those current fads, they basically will alter people's decisions if they can get some form of social proof from their peers. And they see, like, everyone's wearing this amazing new thing around their wrists, which, I don't know, slowly drip feeds them some sort of thing which is awesome. I don't know, whatever. Then maybe they'll be more inclined to invest in that, right? Timing. So timing isn't always good for people. Sometimes it's amazing for people. Sometimes, excuse me, the just the threshold of them suffering in where they are in their job and whatnot. It's just the timing's just perfect now. They need to move on, and so on and so forth, right? But there's more. Wait, there's more. Desire to belong. This is a really interesting one. So people love being part of something bigger than themselves. Love being part of a club. Love being part of a society. Love being part of like I guess going back to classic cars. They like the idea of owning those and getting the exclusive rights to certain things. So like they like belonging. It's human. If you look throughout human history, religion's prime example, the desire to belong. You don't want to be outside of those things when you're back in medieval times in particular. Kind of hard to be in a lot of ways, but that's one prime example there. The desire to collect, so same sort of thing as well. Baseball cards, Pokemon cards, I don't know, whatever else, like toys. Why is there like antique collectors all around the world? Like, why do they keep wanting old shit, right? Like, it's the desire is to collect things, artwork, etc. Curiosity, because they're wondering what might be on the other side. So there's something a little bit deeper behind this, which is actually mystery. If there's something mysterious about the thing, then it's going to invoke curiosity, and which is going to be a buying trigger. There you go. Sense of urgency. So if there's no sense of urgency to do something, then no one's going to do it. Basically, I don't give a shit about it, really. So having said that, if someone is standing in where a bonfire might be, and then someone on the other side lights that bonfire, then they're going to be pretty motivated about moving out of that thing right then there, right? So that's urgent. And if you can elicit that, you don't need to, please don't like do kind of crazy stuff, but if you can elicit that somehow in your sales process, and you can kind of elevate the motivation for doing something. Pain, by the way, is a far stronger motivator than pleasure ever is. So if you say, look, if you go do that, you're going to be able to live out your dreams. You're going to be that first unicorn that's like chilling out in the meadow, like enjoying the sun, all that sort of stuff. That's not really powerful. Even though a lot of people say that, we say that, oh yeah, I want to sit on the beach and sip pina coladas and do whatever. Realistically, the thing that's going to motivate people isn't that. It's the other thing. It's going to be I hate my job, I hate my life, I hate my wife, I hate my kids, hate everything. That's the motivating factor, right? Those are the things that are going to get people to actually get off their butt and go and do stuff, right? So sense of urgency, instant gratification. So if people can get a dopamine hit from doing something like with immediate effect, then bang, they're going to get it. So sometimes it's quite literally the actual act of buying something is going to relieve that like dopamine thing. Oh my god, shopping spree, and now I'm addicted to shopping, whatever. It doesn't necessarily need to be that, but I'm just saying, like, if people are having an instant gratification from things, that is also determining a buying behavior, buying influence, basically. Exclusivity, rarity, or uniqueness. So again, I'm going to refer to classic cars because it's the only thing I can think of off the top of my head. But basically, having a 1968 Ford Mustang, it's quite exclusive. There's probably, not every single person is going to own one, so on and so forth. The rarity of it, there's probably less now than there was back in 1968, so on and so forth. And the uniqueness, because it's quite unique to own one of those things. So same sort of thing. But think about, and the challenge to you guys is to think about how that ties in with what you're doing, the online stuff, and I guess how you're framing yourself, things like that as well. So that's it. No, wait, I lied. There's more. Oh my god, so much more. Damn it! I hate when that happens. So simplicity. If something is easy or it's perceived to be easy, then people will want to buy it. Like no one, like sales pages never say online business is hard. You have to work your butt off. You're going to be faced with setbacks. You have to do stuff. You have to actually get off your butt and do some stuff. Most people don't want to hear that. They want to have passive, simple, easy business. That's the truth, right? We all want it. That's like, if you think of any when you ask what people's core desires are, then they say, you're working at work, you hate your job, what's going on? What's your dream? Oh, well, I just want to travel more, and like, just imagine this thing of sitting on a beach somewhere with a Mai Tai in my hand, and watching my phone as money comes in. That would be amazing. And so if you look at that as a whole, what does that tell you? That is ease and simple and blah blah, right? So that's like a nice easy life. No one wants stress. The motivating factor for a lot of people is to move away from stress. and simplicity can fall into that. Human relationships. So again, it kind of ties in with being part of something, but eventually it will also lead to just being part and accepted, and part of that is obviously human relationships. Guilt. So works really well. I think with kids, they're good at eliciting guilt off their parents. Like, have I not been good this year? Do I not deserve like a brand new pony and a bike? Santa promised last year, and now look at him. Yeah, where is he now? He's stuck because he wasn't allowed out because it's 2020. That's what happened. Sorry, kid. But guilt is a very powerful buying factor. It's a very powerful motivating factor. No one really wants to feel guilty, which is why a lot of people they don't want to say. And this would be anyone that's jumped on a call with people as part of a sales process. Why people, if they feel that pressure about, oh, I actually have to do something now. It's why they lie, because even though they feel guilty about lying, they feel guilty about letting the person down that they're speaking with even more. And so they just want, they're feeling uncomfortable. They want to release that discomfort by moving away from that. So they basically BS and say that they have to go, or, whatever, or they never had any intention to start with. And then they sort of feel guilty, which is why they probably ghost you after the fact. Guilt. Specificity. So if something can solve a very specific issue for them, and there's nothing else out there that can do it, then that creates a premium. Supply and demand, basic economics. That there is a very powerful motivating factor as well. And familiarity, like a lot of people, they will only shop at one supermarket because they are familiar. They like the aisles, like the way everything's laid out. They like the brand of it. They like the way things are done there. But it can go, right down to like detergents that people buy, right down to hair products, right down to the ways that people do stuff, because it's programmed in. It's very familiar, like familiarity. So that's it. And hope's the last one. So if they have a hope that it's going to work out on the other side of making the purchase, that's part of it. And obviously that ties into it. I wouldn't consider that one a huge factor in the buying decision process, but it is still something that is definitely in there as well. Right. So in another episode of this, I'm going to show you guys how to inject some of this rad stuff into your content to basically get folks to throw cash at you, essentially. And I'm also going to go over a couple of angles so you can actually use that in your content as well and put these things into action. So that's my little presentation. See if we've got anyone here. I don't know why I'm singing. Hi, Brad. How you doing, man? Sean? Bonjour, madame. Bonjour, cupcake. Oh, Sean, you are a unique snowflake, my friend. On Friday. So I apologize. I can't see a lot of people here. Oh, check it out. Who let this person in? Yes, good evening. It's my mum, everyone. Hi, mum. How are you? Does this embarrass you if I show you off like that? Love you. Hope you're having a great day. Sounds like a sandwich. Oh, I'm gonna show this. So this is brilliant. Oh, Sean, you're a magnificent dude. I don't know what part that was in reference to. Bork, talk, smork, prork, flork. Poor dog. That's mean. Oh yeah, that's right. And the reference. Yeah. Okay, I'm with you now. Alrighty. Would anyone like to? There's a whole bunch of blank comments there. I don't know what that is, but from Facebook user, I don't know. They must be like gifts or something I can't see. Would anyone like to ask any pertinent questions before I dissipate into the evening like a puff of smoke? Did anyone learn anything? Chalk. Yeah, that would have been. I made up a whole bunch of words, but chalk would have actually. That feels like a real life word. Maybe I should have thrown that out there. Just saying. Cork. There you go. Yeah. Pork. No, I did say pork. Would you like to go for a chalk? Poor dog. Any questions, folks? I'm not even going to be that mad if you don't have any. It's fine. Damaging mission. Yes. Would you like to? Was that my? I was doing a damaging admission just then. Yeah. So it's Frank Kern talks about it as part of his copy framework. So, and you notice if you go to, it annoys me that I remember this, but if you go to frankkernbook.com, here's me promoting his stuff for him. That particular site, it has big bold. Damn it! It has a big bold headline, and underneath that is the "Bud, your results are not typical. I don't know, what your work history. I've been online for 20+ years, blah blah." Right. So, but what it does is it like if something seems really perfect, like a headline is like make $7,000 per day in your pajamas on the beach doing nothing, just lying there, and money comes to you. Like that's too much to believe, right? For most people, like, hang on, there's something weird about that. So a damaging admission is just like, but I don't know your work ethic. I don't know your history. I don't know anything about you. All I know is that these results have worked really well for me. And so, yeah, it basically means that, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. Yeah, okay, it's probably not for everyone in that case. But, oh, well, now I'm intrigued. Now I'm reading through this page. So, okay, might as well keep going and buy the thing at the bottom. Oh, should have known. I still don't know who that is because it just says Facebook user on my side, but I swear to God, they better be good gifts. If I go back over to Facebook and they're not, no, just kidding. I don't care. It's good on you. Yeah, definitely use it. It's really cool. I would suggest maybe use with caution because if you have like just a whole bunch of damaging admissions about yourself all the time, then and it's not really relevant, then you could end up kind of very very much damaging yourself. But yeah, it definitely helps with copywriting in particular. It just builds that trust factor. Anything else you guys want me to go over? If you leave me now, you take away being part of me. I'm gonna give it 1 minute and 20 seconds of me sitting here awkwardly staring into the abyss that is my screen. Was any of this helpful at all? Is any of these like I've been doing one every day for it feels like forever, but it's probably only a couple of days. But is any of that been helpful for you guys at all? Is there anything you would like to learn? I think there's a few. I put up a what do you call it? A post. Yeah, thank you. A post about stuff that you guys wanted to learn about, and I think the most common one was conversions. So this ties into it. What makes people buy stuff? Entertaining and informative. I had that on my Tinder profile actually before I got married. So there you go. It works. Oh, thanks very much. I really appreciate it. 5+. Oh, thank you. Bless you, whoever that is. Appreciate it. Stay tuned. I don't know if I should make them a little bit more official and have what do you call it? An event where I invite people to. Yeah, cool. Let me touch on this question for a bit. Oh, typical. What do you mean? Oh, man, that hurts my feelings that you missed it. You missed my sporadic, untimed live that I just did. I can't believe it. I'm soul crushed. Thanks, Sean. Appreciate that, man. Struggling with content before making money. Stay tuned for the next exciting episode. Yeah, I'm going to go into that stuff. I think if you go have a look through, I've done one on content creation, but I'm happy to go through it a little bit more. What I am going to go through moving forward is how to call out your audience a little bit more through your content, and just explain how you can use certain branding structures to basically polarize your audience and get them to like just throw wads of cash at you. My big thing about content is just like, remember that it's not every single one piece is super important. It's the overarching amount of content. Nice work. Yeah. I can help with Facebook ads. I've just had a little bit of a run-in with TikTok. I don't like those guys. They owe me money from about 60 days ago, and so I can imagine that their ad platform is probably going to be pretty badass, to be honest. But I don't really know about the demographic on TikTok. It's kind of like people with the shortest attention span ever. Surely, like what's next? Like you're only allowed to have like a 2-second video and that's it. I find it fascinating, but I feel because of its meteoric rise in recent times, well, in the Western world at least anyway, I feel like it's probably going to be some pretty badass advertising on there. But I want to really clarify on this, so that there's no such thing as like a secret traffic source. If the optimization isn't done throughout the funnel, throughout the back end, and the product isn't something that people freaking love and want more of, then it doesn't matter what your traffic source is, it's going to turn to custard. So, also with IG shoutouts as well, they are very, very effective. First and foremost, I'll throw that out there. If you can find a genuine influencer, if you can find a match for the product that you're promoting in particular, and in my experience, I've had more success. In fact, I put a PDF up here. It was a couple of years ago, but it's still very, very relevant. It was of I created the PDF a couple of years back. I put it up here in the last couple of days, and that's basically talking about doing influencer marketing via YouTube. So depending on what pathway you're going down, you're going to get a lot more clout, in my experience, at least anyway, through using YouTube for influencer marketing. A couple of reasons. One is it creates a permanent asset. Your link is going to stay on YouTube forever, as opposed to like 5 seconds on Instagram. You can have half an hour slots on Instagram on some of those bigger accounts, and you're still paying $50, $100 for a half hour slot, and then they remove it. So you're not even capturing a big chunk of that audience anyway. A lot of the time, it can be quite hard to decipher bots and fake traffic, and a lot of irrelevant traffic on Instagram as well. The same is going to apply on YouTube. Having said that, like I say, have a permanent link that sits there. I had something out. I put that out in like 2018. It was still making sales for me right up until late last year. I think I might have had one like earlier this year as well. So it was still creating like I guess you'd say, passive income, very like sporadically. It wasn't like I was making any sort of decent cash off it or anything. But the relevance being is that it was still ticking along. Yeah. So hopefully that makes sense. Don't fall into the trap of posting quotes every day. You're not the boss of me, Sean. I'm allowed to post quotes if I want. Nah, don't do that. Don't post quotes. As in sporadic use of them is fine. Like, I know we run out of like mental power in order to put content out there sometimes. So sometimes a quote is completely fine. I just would caution people not to fall into the trap of just putting quotes out there all the time, because then what happens is you'll just be known as the quote person, the quote queen, or the quote king, and that's it. And so therefore, there's no credibility behind your actual brand itself. You're just like, oh, isn't it? I don't know. Like, I have no idea what that person does. They just put out quotes all the time. So, but put it, sporadically, yeah, of course. Like, that's fine. I've got time for another question, and then I'm going to skedaddle. Hopefully, this has helped, Mr. Motivator. Sean, all you need to do is just, I think you just need to be present every day, and I'd find that very motivating. Weird. Thanks very much. Glad to hear that. I've got like an endless stream of both useful and also useless knowledge that I can throw out there. So I'm probably going to do that. Yeah, I normally put it in the post, but I didn't put it in this time because it has the whole, what do you call it? Links. If you put a link in your bloody thing, then Facebook doesn't love it. So, Melvin, thank you very much. I appreciate you tuning in, man. Really, really appreciate it. Power. You guys ever see the Old Spice ads? I love those with Terry Crews. So good. Any other questions, folks? Last chance. The final countdown. I'm just going to assume that there's not. So I appreciate everyone tuning in. Thank you very, very much. And you guys are awesome. Hopefully you get some value from these. I'm going to just keep doing them because I enjoy it. And you can sporadically pick up the ones that you think are going to be of use to. So if not, then that's fine. Like I say, anyone interested in checking out a free case study of how I was able to go from 0 to 10K per month. And also, if you're interested in booking a time to chat with me, there's a link. I think someone put it in there. Thank you very much, by the way. Otherwise, just go to jgcall.com and yeah, feel free to lock in the time then. So anyway, Melvin, you're a legend. Appreciate it. Everyone else, you're also legends. And yeah, have an awesome, awesome day. See you guys next time. Cheers.